Howdy, y'all. This is Big Man the Second. This is the first of my philosophy sort of episodes. I kind of just want to see how they'll go. I don't know if I'll be any good at this because it is after school and I enjoy just kind of screwing around. Um, but yeah, let's go and try. In the background is my Antichamber, which I just restarted, which was an awful idea because eventually I'll have no idea what to do. But today is kind of about how humanity isn't. Our goal shouldn't be immortality, like many people claim it is, or that's what like science is working towards, but how it should be infinite, and kind of what the difference is between them. So, with all of our recent advances in medical technology and all of that, we've extended life by a good 40, 50 years in a probably less than 100 years. And all of this is kind of working towards the goal of immortality, which just means you can't necessarily die from sickness. And while I don't necessarily mind it, I think it's a good idea. However, I don't think it's possible because eventually the human body will break down. Our goal should be to be infinite, and by that I mean that humans individually can die, but the goal of us as a whole species and a spacefaring race should be infinite. It should never die. That should be our goal, not to cure cancer. While these things are good, I don't think they should we shouldn't work exclusively towards them. We should work towards space exploration and things of that nature. We shouldn't exclusively go for medical technology. We should also go for spacefaring technology. However, that leads to interesting complications, because then you come across the occasional anomaly. If you've ever read Isaac Asimov's Foundation series, you'll sort of know what I mean. In the book, the human species has grown over the entire galaxy, and then the central empire that controls it all collapses. But they had planned for that, and they have like a 1,000-year plan to kind of restart it. But in it, there's a character named the Mule, who, despite his terrible, terrible name, takes over most of the galaxy. He defeats the good guys and takes over the galaxy. And the plan didn't call for that anomaly, so it got all jacked up and it ends up being completely different. I'm not going to ruin the book for you if you've never read it, or the books. It's about 5 or 6, I think. They're really good. But anywho, if we came up with a plan, which we easily could, I think, to become truly infinite in scope and mind, we would occasionally run into the odd anomaly, like a dictator who refuses to send resources to help explore the galaxy, because obviously we're going to have to unify the world into one major power, or one or two terrorist organizations that blow up a nuclear bomb, which is always fun. I'm glad it hasn't happened yet. Those sort of things would make planning for it extremely difficult, which I think why it's not necessarily being exclusively attempted. That, and it requires, I think, a large amount of focus and determination. And we have to stop looking inwards at our own selves. We can't be nationalists. We have to be speciesists, worldists. We can't hide behind the guise of I'm Pakistani, I'm Indian, let's fight. We have to be upfront and, be like, I'm I'm from India, but that's just a subcontinent. I'm from planet Earth, or I'm from Pakistan, just like a region, but I'm part of the Earth. I think that in 100 years we shouldn't say I'm Chinese or I'm American, I'm European. We should say I'm from planet Earth, and then there'll be people who say, hopefully, God, I hope there'll be people who say I'm from, the moon or something, and then in a couple thousand years they'll say I'm from the Commonwealth of Human Colonies or something like that. We shouldn't hide behind race or ideology or skin color or even history at all. North Koreans as well shouldn't feel excluded from this. No one should. That's the thing. We're all, one. I'm not entirely certain where the divide came into play, where we decided, I'm different from you, I'm better than you, let's fight. 'Cause that just totally fucked everything up. We had a chance, and we have another one. The UN, if they gave a single shit about anything, I don't like the UN, they could, bring the world into one large nation. It would take a lot of hard work and effort. There'd be a lot of ups, incredible downs. It'd probably take 100 years, but you could do it, and the consequences of it would be hugely in their favor. They would, they'd control the entire world. Why wouldn't you want that? You would stop starvation in Africa. You could potentially stop, environmental damage, because right now every country on Earth really doesn't care about it. America isn't even part of the Kyoto Protocol, which is meant to slow down pollution and environmental destruction. Another part of, why it hasn't been done is the fact that we enjoy fighting. For thousands of years, we have fought each other for, that field over there, that pile of corn. We want materialistic things. Inherently, nowadays, with an abundant amount of resources, we're not living off of scarcity anymore. We're living off abundance, which should mean, under like a generally Marxist society, that everything's free. You just have to work for it. But what it does mean under a capitalist society is it should, be very, very cheap or free, but let's make everyone pay for it, which is why we don't send food to, Africa. We don't send it in massive amounts. America's the fattest country on Earth, and yet we still refuse to give a whole lot of food away. I mean, sure, we give a lot out in humanitarian aid, but we still get fatter and fatter every single day, and we don't need to. We could live off of, corn and beef if we wanted to, which sounds dull, especially to anyone living in America, Europe, or any other, place that has a scarce, or not scarce, an abundant economy, an economy of abundance. We're used to hoagies and, chocolate and French fries and all that. We don't need that. We shouldn't have that. We should, kind of get back to our basic roots and just feed the whole world before we start really developing taste, I guess. We should focus on everyone having food first before we go, I would like a piece of ham, because that sounds good right now. And whilst I don't believe that's really necessarily possible, anytime soon. I hope that one day it will. Whether or not that comes through, like nuclear destruction, or not, it's not. I don't really necessarily care. I just hope it happens. Um, a huge bonus of the idea that we could all become one country, or not a country, like a world. We could all be one unified people. Is we would stop having illegal immigrants, which god dang, I would love that, because I live in Texas, and fucking every day I hear someone talk about goddamn illegal immigrants, and they're absolutely vital to our economy. But people wouldn't be, they wouldn't be oppressed by their governments. They would have, everyone would have the same amount of freedom. Oh God, I hope that would happen. That seems difficult to comprehend almost, because I see Pakistan and I go, they're not very free. I see India and I go, they're not very free. I see New Zealand, they're free. They're nice and free. And it's just hard to comprehend how every single country on Earth could just be the same level of freedom. But on to the little main point here is education would skyrocket. You'd also have people moving away from countries like Bangladesh, which is almost entirely underwater, but yet it has like 2.5 or 250 million people living there, which is absolutely insane. You have people moving away from China and India to go to, like the steppes of Asia or something like that. Probably not. But they wouldn't all live in a disgusting, overburdened city. They'd be more easily dispersed around the entire world. They go to where the jobs are, and the jobs would be everywhere. Which means education's easier to give because you don't have so many kids in one spot. So, really, after 100 years of creating this Earth nation, we would be hugely superior to what we had been 100 years before. We would have kids who could comprehend calculus at like age 13. I don't even know it now, and I'm 17. You'd have right now we kind of live in a system where only a couple million people, or I guess a couple billion people, are educated, and it should be every single person. But it's very hard to do when we're all divided like this. And if we did that, then we'd all live under the same standards. We'd have rivalries between schools, of course. We need that. But the result of the whole Earth nation would be most people would have better opportunities. It would be more intelligent, and it'd kind of be like a domino effect. We'd start off with the Earth nation, and we'd go, okay, let's set up a colony on the moon, and we do that, and we're like, okay, we did that. Let's do one for Mars. We do that, and hopefully, eventually, we just control the entire solar system. We'd mine the shit out of asteroids and asteroid belts, and we would just kind of almost adapt to, instead of every country hoarding its resources, you'd have regions that would all send in, here's iron, do something with it. But then that leads to the problem of corruption, which would be dealt with accordingly, usually with a bullet. I'm a big fan of that whole deal, sort of. I don't know. But yeah, like, our goal shouldn't be to be immortal, because with immortality, you'll face atrocities that you'll have to survive through. You'll see things that no one should ever see. I don't want to live forever. I would like to die someday, happy, preferably with a belly full of corn. In Iceland, preferably, because I like Iceland. But the quest for immortality also is a little bit irrational. We're not meant to live forever. I think the human psyche by then would just go absolutely out the goddamn wall. I really don't care for it. But rather, it should be in. The goal of us should be to reach infinity, which, unlike immortality, doesn't have, you know, milestones or anything. It's constantly changing. You can't reach it ever. You can just strive for it and hope and hope and hope that you'll eventually get so close that you'll either lose by merging into other peoples, but yet still keeping your history. We meet alien species and then we procreate with them and spread across the entire galaxy, but people still remember, humans once lived here, and now humans are everywhere. It would either end that way or it would end with complete destruction. You'd have someone just like, I don't like the people on Earth. Even though, we're all part of the same nation. Let's attack them. And eventually you just have mutually assured destruction. Which isn't very good. Of course we face that now, almost. But, yeah. Just, I guess the whole goal of this was to explain my view on immortality versus infinity, and how we should go for infinity. So, thanks for watching. And, if you like this, then obviously like it. And I'll be coming up with more soon. Oh, also leave topics. I would like that. I only have a few. So thanks for watching. This is Big Man the Second, signing out.